what's up? It's me, Rowan. You might know me from the last video on this channel or the last video on this channel because that's where most of my subscribers are from right now. Welcome, so great to have you. My plan for today's video is a painting walkthrough. So this is a piece that I've been working on for a couple of months. I'll tell you a little bit about it. I'll tell you what my strategy is going in. And I also wanted to just give some channel updates for all the new people here because there's some new stuff to talk about. I am racing the end of the day here because I do prefer to paint in natural light. So yeah, let's just get into it, and the rest of this will be in voiceover format. Okay, just showing you the colors on my palette. Use a lot of white, no black. These are just the darker values that I'm trying to cover up. And here I'm just showing you that there's some texture and warping in the canvas itself. What I'm trying to do is essentially, if you'll look at the darker, more brown toned values, I'm trying to match that color and then bring it into the darker toned areas of the face. Last time I picked up this piece, I shaded them with a really dark purple, and then I just realized that I forgot to put on music. Essentially what happened here is that I just got impatient and I started using black to shade, which was, I was tired, like, I'll be honest with you. If you see the ring shadow around the finger there, it's very minimal, but I definitely went overboard when I was working on the face. This is something that's dangerous about mixing your colors in small quantities, which I'm really bad for, and I never learned from this mistake. When you're first selecting your color palette, you can afford to be a little bit less precise about your mixing and more experimental. But if you run out of that color and still have more area to paint, matching a color to what you already have on the canvas can be difficult, especially if the paint has a tendency to change color as it dries. I can pretty much tell you exactly what happened here, which is probably that I ran out of the brown tone and had a darker purple on my palette and was too lazy to mix the correct thing, but still wanted to keep painting, so I just put a much darker value than I should have used so that I could remember where I meant to put it. I'm trying to learn to view these mistakes as more learning opportunities because I do learn stuff when I fix it. Now, I'm gonna warn you ahead of time, I did lose a bunch of footage, which is really annoying with these process videos because obviously I can't just unpaint it and then show you again. So there's gonna be some stuff missing, but I will explain to you what I did. I'm working on the hand right now. The first hand, the one at the bottom, was so fucking easy, and this one has been giving me nothing but problems. Okay, now moving on. I like to paint on just kind of like found items. I find that when they have like quote unquote imperfections, it's a lot less intimidating than just a blank white canvas. This, I think, used to be like a sliding cupboard door or something. It's just made of like composite cardboard stuff. So I scrubbed that down, I sanded it, I coated it in white gesso. But what I was really interested in with this particular canvas, if you want to call it that, was the warping that is around the cheek. It had a really interesting knotted texture that reminded me of like cracked earth or scar tissue. So that's where I took my initial inspiration from. And the more I looked at it, it reminded me of a scar that my sister had on her cheek. For those of you who don't know, my sister passed away in 2014. I thought about doing a portrait of my sister, but I can never make her face look the way that I remember it, so I moved away from that, and that brings me to the name of this piece, which is Healing My Sister's Wound. My sister died of an overdose. If you know anything about addiction, you'll know that it's usually caused by trauma, and that was the case for my sister. We were both involved in the foster care system, but my sister definitely more so than me, and she sustained a lot of trauma from the experiences that she had there. Here you'll see me just figuring out how to sketch some hummingbirds because I don't think I've actually taken it upon myself to draw hummingbirds before or paint them, so just want to make sure that I have good muscle memory in my hand really quick, and that I have a basic idea of the shapes that I'll be using. And the reason that there's going to be a hummingbird in this piece will become apparent shortly. My sister passed away. She had this scar on her cheek. I think she got it from like scrapping when she was drunk or something. But we were in the hospital for 5 days total, and we didn't know until I think the second or third day that she wasn't gonna make it. Probably on like the second day, my auntie came to the hospital to visit us because we were just staying there. And she had had a dream where Kara came to her and essentially said, tell my mom to watch for the hummingbird. Sure enough, it comes time to have my sister cremated. We couldn't really spring for like a really fancy coffin, but my mom knew some spray paint artists from the Inner Harbor. We ended up having them spray paint the just like plain wooden casket with some beautiful scenery and put some rhinestones and stuff on it because my sister was all glitz and glam. They had to do this outside in the parking lot of the funeral home because, you know, spray paint, there's fumes. While they were doing that, my mom was standing there and notices in the tree a small little hummingbird came and watched the whole thing and sang the whole time. And then as soon as they were finished, just flitted away. So we always consider the hummingbird kind of a sign that my sister is trying to visit and say hello. The scar on the cheek is not just representative of the physical wound that my sister sustained to her face, but the emotional wound. This piece is about how I end up having to be the one who processes that grief and that trauma, and that it doesn't go away. The people she left behind now have to learn how to deal with it. So the hummingbird is going to go in the top left corner, and this is actually all just for the underpainting, which is going to be in acrylic, and then I will be doing oils over top of it, and then I will put a glaze and add some 3D elements in the form of needle and thread. The hummingbird is going to be pulling at the thread and holding the needle, which is stitching up the wound in my face. Part of the message of this piece is not just that it's up to me to break the cycle of trauma and violence, but that I'm not really doing it alone. Even if the way that she's doing it hurts, my sister is still there helping me on this path. This last little hummingbird here is, well, I just think it's really cute, so I decided to use that as the reference for the pose in the painting. I thought about transferring the line work over with some tracing paper, but sometimes with smaller, more detailed elements like that, I try not to get lost in the lines and instead focus on the form. So I ended up deciding against transferring it. Just a little quick disclaimer, by the way, like, I don't want people to think that I'm sharing these things for sympathy or anything like that. I'm actually like pretty uncomfortable with my emotions, which is why I make art about it. I just like being able to speak frankly about death and that kind of thing because it happens to everyone and it's a really normal human experience. So I just kind of wish that we could treat it that way more. And this is the skipped portion, so I'll just tell you what I did prior to this clip. I took a warm, like creamy orange color, and I outlined just the most basic shapes in like blob form of the bird, and then I took the purple and I used that to add in the darker values and the shadows. I also mixed a couple of lavender shades and used those to bring the highlights back into the face after layering the brown over top. Then I moved on to the background. The color choice is based on just me and my sister's favorite colors. I always really liked purple and she always really liked pink. We would get like color-coded Christmas gifts. I remember one year she decided that purple was actually her favorite color and I was so fucking mad, dude. I was pissed. She got a new phone and it was purple. It was a BlackBerry, just to like date this a little bit. She's like, oh, I've always liked purple. Look at my new purple BlackBerry. And then like a week later, she had a pink case on it. So I don't know what the moral of that story is. She's like literally dead and I'm just still trying to win this argument. Anyway, so I used a palette knife to kind of just like smear the colors around on the canvas. And this is how I mixed a lot of the color by taking, for example, straight red and blending it with what's already on the canvas. And then once it's blended to my liking, I kind of like scrape over it and it gets this really cool scratchy texture that I was really having fun creating. That's about it for what you're gonna see here, so I can get into the channel updates now. First of all, welcome to all my new subscribers from the tramp stamps video. I was both very excited and very terrified with the amount of attention that video got. It was only my 4th video, so I think I was just kind of expecting to have a little bit more time to get good at editing before people actually started paying attention. But that said, I'm really happy that people like the content that I'm making, so it's all good news. I think I also was getting caught in that trap of like, all of these subscribers are coming to me from this commentary video, so reason dictates that I should make more commentary. But I didn't want to make more commentary. I wanted to do a painting process. This is something that I've heard a lot of YouTubers talk about, where they have a certain type of content that they want to make, but they're not sure if their current subscribers will want to watch it. I kind of just realized I like watching people do things that they care about, and when the YouTubers that I watch want to make a different type of content, if they care about it, I'm usually game. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Also, I'm sorry you can probably hear my roommate's music playing in the next room. I try not to complain about music because we all like to play it really loud in this house. More channel updates. I did recently get accepted into an art exhibit for which I will be creating 1 to 3 pieces and writing a story. And then there's also like bi-weekly check-ins. This is going to take up a bit of my time. I also work full-time, and then in addition to that, I help out some family with a podcast called The Historical Natives, which just documents Indigenous lore. I'll leave the link in the description if you're interested in that at all. That being said, I don't think I'm going to be able to maintain a bi-weekly upload schedule with this exhibit being on my plate now, especially because I'm already not really managing it. So I have decided that I'm going to slow down uploading to every 3 weeks, just so that I'm not feeling rushed and I can put out content that I actually am proud of. This will be temporary. I'm hoping in the summer at some point to take like maybe a week off and get some stuff in production. Then I think having a bi-weekly upload will be a little bit easier to manage if I have stuff ready for upload in advance. So something to look forward to. Something else to look forward to, I wanted to show my gratitude to all the new people who decided to subscribe by announcing a potential giveaway. Obviously, I'm not expecting my channel to continue growing as quickly as it did with that one video, because did I just say Vimeo? That in the tramp stamps video. Anyway, I just wanted to show some gratitude, so I figured 500 subscribers seems like a reasonable goal. Obviously, I'm not expecting to continue growing as quickly as I did in the past like week or so. Oh god, sorry, this was basically like filmed by the Blair Witch. I was just trying to show you details, but again, I thought I was gonna have more time to get good. Once we hit 500, I will make a little pair of earrings or something and we can have a giveaway. So if you're not already subscribed, feel free to do that if you want to keep posted. Let me know if you'd be interested in me documenting my process for this upcoming exhibit as well, because that could be something that I do. And let me know how your day was, I guess. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you later.